We got some stuff going on, vocab. Some stuff going on. It reminds me of how things were for me, like, 15, 16 years ago, where I'm telling people about Islam and not enough people take it seriously as a topic of discussion. And now it seems like something, although not nearly on the same scale, but you have the Hebrew Israelites, and it seems like there's stories about them in the news all the time, and yet very few people seem to be paying attention at all to it. So what's going on there?
Yeah, I mean, I think people are paying attention to now a little bit more, of course. What people are noticing specifically, it seems, what's catching people's attention is the anti-Semitic aspect of Hebrew Israelism. There's a lot of elements to Hebrew Israelism. Christian apologists especially dislike their twisting the Bible to justify bad theology. The world may or may not care as much about that, but there are people in the world who do care about anti-Semitism. And so that aspect of Hebrew Israelism is catching their attention, and people are willing to criticize that aspect of Hebrew Israelism as of now. At least some people are. Some people are actually agreeing with it. So there's some interesting, situations going on. I mean, I wouldn't wear a MAGA hat. This is justified sola fide, but Donald Trump just met with Ye and Nick Fuentes, I think is how you say his name, who who makes some of the stuff Kanye say look remedial, and so
I've seen his name pop up, that Nick guy on Twitter a bunch. Who is that? So everyone's talking about him.
Well, I know him as a YouTuber, but I don't know a whole lot about him. At first, whenever you hear the media says this guy is that or this guy is that, you're kind of always skeptical of that because you don't trust the media's identification of anybody.
Yeah.
But then I watched some of his stuff, and he was on there saying, hey, this is how he talks. You Jews better watch out because these things always they start out of nowhere and then they go from 0 to 60 against you people real fast. You're not wrong that it's not gradual because people are ready, and you guys are going to like people like me because since I'm a Christian, this is what he said now. Since I'm a Christian, that factors into stuff but other people aren't Christians. So the Jews better watch out. I mean, he was saying this and like it was some kind of concession. He was basically saying violence against Jewish people in society does ramp up real fast, and that could happen in America, and the Jews better be aware. And he seemed like he said, and the reason is because of you guys. He said it's because of you, In the clip I watched, I don't know if people know what I'm talking about, the stuff I was watching. I watched some of his other stuff. So it's wild that he's meeting with Donald Trump with Kanye. And you sit there and wonder, is it because they're both anti-Semitic? Is that their shared? What does Nick Fuentes have in common with Kanye? I don't know. What does Trump have in common with him? I don't know. But it's odd they're meeting down there in Florida. But they are.
Yeah, I've been wondering because a lot of Muslim women were confused with everyone jumping on the Andrew Tate bandwagon so rapidly, because what that guy's been saying for a couple years is basically Muslims know how to keep their women in check. And again, this is Andrew Tate saying it. He's saying Muslims won't allow you to mock Muhammad. They'll kill you. They'll just kill you. He said if you were to make fun of Muhammad in London, walk down the street, you wouldn't survive to the end of the block. And he was praising them for this, saying that he doesn't disagree with this. He respects them for it. And then he converts to Islam. So anyone watching is going, wow, this guy just converted to Islam. But if you look at the reasons he's been praising Islam, it's actually disturbing. It looks like something, he's using it. He's looking for something that will justify his behavior. And so, you could imagine what would happen like right now if Kanye, if like Kanye said, you know what, I'm converting to Islam because they share my anti-Semitism. It'd like be shouted from the rooftops instantly. You see, he sees the truth of Islam. So it's interesting that, the people who share certain views do come together. So yeah, it would be interesting yet disturbing if some of these guys are coming together because of anti-Semitism. And I mean, what you said about Nick Fuentes, he is right in the sense that stuff can ramp up very quickly against. I mean, we saw it like when COVID started, then all of a sudden hate crimes against Asian Americans shot up, right? Because everyone's, they're complaining about China and stuff like this. And then people, I'm assuming people who already had a problem, people who already disliked Asians just took this as, okay, now I can get away with it. And so, yeah, you always have to be concerned that because you have a group like the Jews, who you always have this anger from certain people towards them, and so the idea that someone could just use that very quickly and get everyone who's already anti-Semitic but kind of quiet about it suddenly to become vocal about it, bad stuff can happen pretty quickly, especially when the support for it is coming from world-class musicians, world-class athletes, and so on. So anyway, this is why we need to address these issues when we're coming, because notice what's going on here. You've got this ideology, Black Hebrew Israelism, seems to be spreading rapidly, seems to be influencing a lot of people, and no one's talking about it. And yet there's some really disturbing views that they have that are spreading. And I just have to say that the church has a pretty poor track record of dealing with cults when they're small, right? It's like, okay, hey, there's a cult forming over there. Let's just ignore it until it's too big to stop, and then we'll respond to it, and we'll start doing some apologetics then. But right. There's you, and there's maybe a couple others who are dealing with this when given how rapidly this is spreading. Again, it just seems like every time I go on any media site, there's something that involves the Hebrew Israelites on there, even though people might not realize or even have a clue what the Hebrew Israelites are yet.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of stuff that happens that's said that people don't realize is connected to Hebrew Israelism that it is. So people haven't been able to pick out the identifiers, kind of the marks, to be able to determine what's what yet. And so that's part of what I try to do, is to show people, hey, this is this or that, whatever the story is at the time, is directly connected to a specific ideology. And sometimes it takes some digging. But I think more and more people are becoming aware, and we'll just stay on top of it, because it seems like it's only going to grow, but it's not going away. And one of the reasons it's not going away, not just because Hebrew Israelism is growing, not shrinking, is also because IUIC, out of all the Hebrew Israelite groups, is taking this kind of as their 15 minutes of fame. Mm-hmm. Now, I say that tongue-in-cheek because I know that their time in the spotlight is not over. So, but I'm saying they see it as an opportunity to grab roots, to grab awareness for their ideology. So all their social media has been ramped up, and it's filled with Kyrie and Kanye related things. And they're saying, the truth can't get canceled. This melodramatic, they're calling it the battle for the birthright. All this kind of stuff. And I've got images and stuff to show all this, what I'm talking about. And I want to focus on one specific verse you asked about today, or yesterday actually, which is Revelation 2:9. That is used by Hebrew Israelites and has been used by anti-Semites for a while now. So the KKK, the Christian Identity people, the British Israelites, they have all used this verse. I'm not aware of it having a long history in the Christian tradition, although maybe we'll find out that that's different at some point, as far as the verse being used in the way that IUIC and groups like them use it. But it's part and parcel to this ideology.
Let's go through one or two video clips real quick. And Kyrie, wasn't he Uncle Drew, man?
Well, you look at old videos of Kyrie, and he's out on a boat, with a bunch of ladies of the fair persuasion, grabbing their posterior and chilling like a playboy type thing. But that's I guess what NBA players do. I guess I don't know, at least some. But it seems like now he's in a different position or place, at least as far as what he's talking about or what he's sharing, which is like this spiritual journey that he's continuing to be on, where people forgot last year Kyrie was fasting during Ramadan. People forgot about that. Yeah, and it was when he wouldn't take the COVID shot. So it's all going on at once with Kyrie. And now he's into Hebrew Israelism.
Yeah, I just saw something. Someone can search for it if someone wants to look it up. But something where he just made a donation to a mosque, like black Muslim mosque, like from the 60s, back when it like might have been Nation of Islam. I'm not sure, but it specifically said black Muslim mosque. So yeah, and it looks like there's this rhythm to things. Some famous person like Kanye or Kyrie or something like that will say something that affirms some element of Hebrew Israelism, and then there's a backlash because of the connection to antisemitism, and then these guys sort of get shut down or lose some contracts or something like that, get penalized somehow, and then the actual Hebrew Israelites then sort of ride that wave of popularity to say, and notice what they get to say. They get to say, you see, we're right. You see, there's this conspiracy to hold down the truth about our movement, and it just seems like that's, I don't know, it seems like that's going to keep happening because 2 or 3 weeks from now, you're going to get some other, famous athlete or musician or something like that saying something positive about it. And then it'll be the same thing. It'll be the person gets denounced for anti-Semitism. Then maybe the person apologizes, but, IUIC and some of these other groups will use that momentum to reach people who might not know what it is, because there are still people who don't know what these groups are and what their arguments are, and all of a sudden they'll get some exposure. And so I'm guessing we should be discussing some of their arguments. So let's go ahead and check out we'll go ahead and check out this clip from the BLM rally.
You know what you just said, David. Let me name drop a little bit. I was interviewed by the Jewish Telegraphic Agency. I know you can't really see it on here. But when they interviewed me, that's one thing I specifically said. Israelism is becoming part of the plausibility structure of Black America. Christian activist and author Vocab Maolne told the Jewish Telegraphic Agency, referring to a social context in which certain ideas are considered credible. Quote, this is me getting quoted accurately right here. The suspicions that a lot of folks have toward the Jewish community, they think they're vindicated now. Now, obviously, I'm not agreeing with those things, but that's exactly what I told the JTA recently.
So you're part of the conspiracy.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. They're going to be on that more than ever. And I'm just like, I'm a Protestant Christian. I'm not a dispensationalist, but I'm willing to be an ally and show the light of Christ if I can to unbelieving people, whether they be Jewish or non-Jewish. And here we go. This is the hour.
And it is interesting that like the level of conspiracy theorization that goes on, like everything's a conspiracy. Like I've walked up to Hebrew Israelites with you on the street, and they immediately start saying, the FBI, the only way you knew, even though they're like broadcasting live and you can look up where they are and go see them. As soon as you show up, they start saying that the FBI sent you. The FBI is spying on them and then sending in Vocab Maolne to argue with them.
That literally just happened. Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting stuff.